The world is reacting to the death of former President George H.W. Bush.
From our local politicians to world leaders, let's take a look at some of those comments, starting with President Donald Trump. In a statement, he says, "Melania and I join with a grieving nation to mourn the loss of former President George H.W. Bush. Along with his full life of service to the country, we will remember President Bush for his devotion to family, especially the love of his life, Barbara. Our hearts ache with his loss, and we, with the American people, send our prayers to the entire Bush family." And former President Barack Obama, who just visited Mr. Bush this past week, said this: "America has lost a patriot and humble servant in George Herbert Walker Bush. While our hearts are heavy today, they are also filled with gratitude, not merely for the years he spent as our 41st president, but for the more than 70 years he spent in devoted service to the country he loved. It's a legacy of service that may never be matched, even though he'd want us all to try." And Governor Greg Abbott said the state of Texas mourns with the nation at the passing of one of our greatest presidents. George H.W. Bush was an American hero and icon. He was a friend to all he met. He embodied class and dignity. Texans are genuinely honored that he called the Lone Star State home, and we collectively grieve this monumental loss. And Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner writing, "George H.W. Bush served with valor and integrity as the 41st President of the United States. But to Houstonians, he was one of our most esteemed and relatable neighbors. May we never forget his service to our country, his call for all of us to be a light to the world, and his loving spirit."
Members of the Bush family shared their messages. Grandson Jeb Bush Jr. said, "Nothing gave my Gampy more joy than service to others, especially supporting and caring for those who risk making the ultimate sacrifice every day. His leadership taught us to be kinder and gentler, to love each other. We will miss him dearly." And George P. Bush said, "My grandfather was the greatest man I ever knew. His life spanned the American century. He fought in World War II, took part in the Texas oil boom, served out a distinguished career in public service." More on the president's remarkable life